everybody, it's Anna here for Revival Home Design Company, and today I've got my paint clothes on. We are going to paint this bathroom. So my apologies for the quality of the sound for this video. The bathroom fan is hooked up with the light, which is not something I particularly enjoy. I prefer them to operate separately, but the fan is operating very loudly. Okay, so this bathroom is natural pine. It's never really been touched before. And some might say that it's a shame for me to cover it up with paint, but there's three main reasons why I want to paint it today, and that is to protect the wood. It is a bathroom, so you get the steam of the shower or tub splashing, and it does damage the wood over time. There's other areas to cover up. I will show you those. And lastly, for luminosity, you can see that I'm pretty well lit now. I did change the light bulbs on the light fixture as soon as I moved in, just to help with how dark it was in here, but there's going to be definitely a big difference in color. So walking in, you'll notice that it's not the smallest bathroom, but it's also not the largest. You see there's all these shadowy spots over here. This holds a hot water tank, extra storage built into the wall, a small vanity, the only set of lighting. The shadows that even are on this shelf are pretty intense. This is the shower curtain that was here, and I think it does a real disservice to the room. Not only is it a dark shower curtain from this side, it kind of intrudes into the room. The liner is brown. So actually behind this is a window, letting in lots of natural light. Just in case you're wondering, this little bump out here is the staircase above. It does intrude into the shower region slightly, but there's sufficient headroom since our faucet and shower head is at the other end. So this is the only room in the house that has baseboard trim. So that's something that I'm going to have to consider when I do the painting color. So you can see here on the wall some old framed photos, a shelf that would have hung here that is been bleached into the wood, and you'll never be able to edit that out. So that's one of the things I want to cover up. Here's another area that I'd like to cover up, is some water damage on the ceiling. So this water damage has been rectified with some flashing and a new roof system, but the damage still remains in the wood. So this backsplash that the laminate countertop has does roll up about 3 inches onto the wall, but it's not sufficient for the amount of splashing that goes along with hand washing, brushing your teeth. You can see the damage in the wall, the drips that are kind of permanently in there, the bleaching of the wood, and the irregular discoloration around the sink. So that's another area that I'd like to address. That's the cover up. So the paint here is going to make it easier to wipe down as well as prevent any further damage. So it appears that some treatment has been done to this wall around the shower area. These boards appear that they've been varathaned or some kind of gloss or adhesive, some kind of protection, so that you can see where they've stopped doing it. This is the damage that's happened to the wall over time from the shower. This is another area that I'd like to cover up. So on the second floor of the home, the bedrooms and the office was made entirely of this wood. It's not something I've seen before. What I'm calling it is peace pine. You can see some like joints in it that had been glued, manufactured together to create one single board. But it's almost as if it's been made of the naughtiest scrap pine. It's not exactly flattering in my opinion. So before I get started with all the paint prep and priming, there's one little thing that I wanted to add to this vanity. You see that it has no knob? I picked one up. So around the tub and shower, the splash zone, let's call it, I've started with a primer, sealer, and steam repellent all in one. So this is really important to prep the area, especially the area that was already varathaned and the water damage, which is still showing through. Might need another coat there before starting to apply paint. Here I am showing you what a particular challenge that this V-groove pine offers. One, primarily, is knots. So the knots can tend to bleed through, so it's very important to use a good primer. But secondly, is the actual groove itself. So I am using a very thick roller to help kind of push as much product as I can into the grooves themselves, but it's quite insufficient. So I'm taking a brush. This is just a flat brush. You could use an angled brush, and you will have to actually paint in the grooves themselves. So you won't have any shadow lines. You have a consistent color when you're through. It's very time consuming, especially on this amount of V-grooves, the size of the wall, the height of the wall or ceiling. This ceiling here, it has a secondary groove in the middle. They're spaced about 2.5 inches apart. So it is time consuming, and I have to do that with the primer and each layer of paint. So one thing to note about making the bathroom a little bit brighter is actually changing out the shower curtain. So it is in a lighter color, but it has this semi-transparent screen at the top, which allows light in from the vanity to the person showering and allows that natural light in. So the main color here on the walls is Thin Ice by Deluxe. And then we have a cream colored on the ceilings and the trim. So this is actually the only room in the house with baseboard. So I did make an effort to paint the trim a distinct color. I added a mirror here to reflect light in the back of the door, plus who doesn't need a full-length mirror? And then these big pops of yellow. It's called Canary Yellow by Premier Paints. This yellow warbler was my inspiration for the room. I like a little bit of color and a little bit of fun when you're at the cottage. Not only did we want to brighten the room up, we wanted to cover up a few areas. So this area here was where all the watermarks and stains were. And gone are the faded old frames that were in the wood. Another area that we wanted to address by doing the paint was protection. So this is something you won't really see a difference in except in the long term. And I dare say that this Peace Pine wall has been completely covered up. You wouldn't know that they were made of individual pieces. You wouldn't really know that it was extra knotty. It has made a very clean wall out of it, and I'm very happy with the results.